Quick little disclaimer. This is not a hate video towards men at all. In fact, I love men. I think they're really cool. I think they're really great. They have an essential part of life, but they shouldn't be the center of my universe. They shouldn't be the center of your universe. And in fact, I think a lot of times we get so caught up in like wanting the guy. And I think a lot of the programming that we have while growing up as kids, i.e. the Disney movies where the prince saves her and, you know, they live happily ever after, that being the end goal, the end all be all. You must get married and settle down and have kids, and that is the goal of life. And I think way too many of us rush the process to get there because we think that that is what's going to bring us happiness, when in fact there are so many different areas of life that could be bringing you happiness that you may be neglecting, ignoring, putting on the back burner because you're so focused on dating, finding your person, finding the love of your life, and to settle down with, which is fine. Like, I think that that's cool. If that's a priority in your life, that's fine. But it shouldn't be the only thing that you think is going to bring you happiness. It's not the end goal. There is so much out there, other ways to make you happy until that person steps into your life. Welcome back to another episode of Way Too Wifey. I am your host, respectfully Gabby, and in this podcast we talk all things dating and relationships in this modern day. And if you are new here, hi, I'm Gabby. I'm an online dating coach where I help you transform your confidence to live your best lives inside and outside of relationships. You guys, it all starts from within. I promise you, the more anxious you feel, the more unsure about yourself, the more insecure you feel, the less confidence that you have, all of these things will get triggered and you will attract people that will amplify those things internally. So why not heal yourself before and then enter a relationship that's actually going to be satisfying and bring you peace and satisfaction? Anyway, just a thought. If you're interested, I have an 8-week transformation program where we go over insecure attachment styles, insecurities, abandonment wounds. We cover all the bases to make you feel like your absolute best self. And if you have any questions, please reach out. I have a discovery call that you can book that we go over all the details about that. Hit the stand link in my bio if you're interested. And if you've been watching this podcast for a while or listening, please leave that 5-star rating, leave that thumbs up, turn on your bell notification so you'll never miss another episode. It really does help me and it helps you because sometimes I can't lie. Sometimes I'm like, what's the point? Why am I doing this still? Sometimes videos flop or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Am I doing the right thing? Should I keep up with this podcast? When I see those ratings, I am like, okay, fine. Okay, we'll do it. It's what keeps things going. It's what helps build out this podcast. So if you could please leave that rating, leave a good rating, and let's hop into it. You guys, I am in Nice, France right now, south of France, French Riviera. I don't know why that sounds so fucking bougie and I love it, but I've been so lonely here. It's super hard in this place as a solo traveler. A friend's coming today, but this is maybe not the spot unless you're only doing like a couple days here, because I find it so hard to make friends. There's not a lot of people that solo travel here. It's difficult. I met some girls on the beach. They were super nice, but it was like their last night in town. So I'm like, you guys have fun, do you? And wouldn't recommend if you're going here solo, but it is a really fucking beautiful place. I wouldn't stay here for more than a week. This is the end of my solo traveling experience. Once this video comes out, I will be back in the US, and I'm actually really scared because my life has been a dream for the past 4.5 months, and I actually don't know what life is going to be like. I already booked a flight to see one of my friends in Phoenix, so we'll be there like a week after I tap down in Florida. But I'm just like, I don't know how I'm gonna like recover going back to the US. It's actually gonna be a scary time for me, but I'm excited to see like friends and family and whatnot. But I'm scared that like my life is gonna go back to like boredom, and no one really talks about like the coming back home thought of traveling. I think I'm going to make a whole maybe podcast episode on just solo traveling and what that experience has been like for me, because maybe it's not something I talk about as much because obviously this is a dating podcast, but I think there's a lot of like self exploration that happens within solo traveling that I would really recommend doing if you've never done so before. But I'm going to make a whole episode on that. Any hoozles, I get into it, you guys. The reason that this video came to be really stemmed back from a conversation that I had with one of my girlfriends a while ago, where we were meeting up, we hadn't seen each other in a little bit, and we were chatting, love life, dating, whatever. We get to a point like mid-conversation, she was like, that's all the dating stories that I have. And honestly, I felt really bad in that moment, which she was not intending this for me to feel bad, but I was like, oh my God, does she think that the only thing that I want to talk about is dating and relationships and men, and I don't care about her? As like, it really started going off in my mind. I'm like, is this all I talk about with my friends? Why is this the only thing we talk about? Do I actually know about what she's up to with like her career and her passions and what she wants to do? And like, do I know enough about her and not necessarily like her dating life? And of course, for me, I think it's just a natural thing because this is what I do for a job. Like, I talk to people about their dating lives a lot. So naturally, that's what I ask. From there, I've become so much more conscious of asking friends and whatnot about like their personal lives instead of just dating. It was so simple. But for me, I'm like, are we making men the center of our lives? Because realistically, I think a lot of men, they'll hang out. I don't think most of their conversations revolve around women. Actually, in fact, I know they don't. I think a majority of their conversations revolve around their selves, their goals, their passions, what they're doing, what they're into. Every time I'm like, oh, like, what did you guys talk about? It's like it's never fully revolved around girls. And if it is, it's like, oh yeah, like I saw this girl the other day. Like, oh, I hooked up with this girl. Like, it's something so simple. And it's not the center of what they talk about. But why is it that it is such a crucial part about girls getting together and talking about boys? Like, that's what we do. That's what we've always done. But why is that? And like, how do we stop doing that? Because I don't think it's necessarily healthy to have that be the sole focus of our lives. I think if we think about it as an analogy, the solar system, we're in a solar system, right? And the more that you revolve your life around the guy, him being the sun of the universe, I think you're just an orbiting planet. You're not the main character. You're just running circles around this man. When in fact, you should be the center of your own life, making yourself a priority, making yourself be the happiest part, making your life fulfilling, and not so much like you're waiting for, or you're doing things because you think a man will like it, or you're acting in ways that you think a man will like. That's giving pick-me energy, and we're not pick-me girls, okay? I'm ending the pick-me era of all of us. Stop doing things that you think men will like, or dressing in a way that you think a man would like you, or stop making your decisions in life based on what you think a man would want or like. Had done this so fucking much, I can't even tell you because it's actually embarrassing. In my maybe early 20s, even maybe late 20s, if I'm being completely honest, men were the center of my life. Like, I revolved around a lot of my things. I would make soft plans with friends just in case the guy that I wanted to see comes around and wants to make plans with me, and then I'll bail on my friends. Or I would be like, oh, well, like, let me get really interested in this one thing because I know that the guy that I like is super interested in this one thing. Or, you know, let me say this specific phrase because I know that he's into girls that do this specific thing or are into this certain thing. It is absolutely exhausting. And what ends up happening is the guy will be like, oh my God, like, this girl is amazing. And then you feel great for the moment. But long term, it's not sustainable because it's not something that you're actually interested in. And then you've put up this front your whole life that you liked this thing, and you don't have the heart to tell him, actually, that's not me. I don't even know who me is because I've revolved my whole life around you. And I think that happened so much in my last relationship because everything I did revolved around my ex. Like, everything, every decision that I made, every everything when he wasn't giving back as much as I was putting in. And I think that's something that we all need to ask ourselves. So I've actually created a whole like checklist, like check in with yourself, of asking yourself these questions, having a little tap in. Are you making men the center of your universe? Let's get into it. I have quite a few, so let's dive in. All right. When you're with friends, is the conversations that, and I kind of spoke about this, but when you're with your friends, are the conversations that you're having revolving just around men and the guys that you're talking to, the guys that you're dating, the guys that you dated? Is it all revolving around men? Where are they? What are they doing? What are they about? What did he do? What did he not do? A majority of the conversations you're having about men alone. I had to think back to a lot of my friendships in life, and I'm like, oh my God, do I even know about their lives? And that brings me to part number 2, is like, well, this goes both ways, but do my friends know more about my love life than they do about my goals, passions, interests, my own life, like my own things going on? Vice versa. Do I even know what my friend wants out of life? Do I know their goals? Do I know their interests? Do I know their passions? Or do I just know their recent flings? I'm thinking back now to all of the friendships that I have had, and a lot of them revolve around just speaking about like men that we're dating. And I'm really trying to get away from that because I don't think it's healthy. There's other areas of life that I would like to get to know my friends. Obviously, at the end of the day, do you? But I think when you want to form a healthy relationship with yourself and your friends, the sole focus should not be around men. Next one, what does your week look like? If your week revolves around you making soft plans with your friends, I kind of mentioned this before, but making soft plans with your friends because you're really interested in this guy and you want him to ask you out, and you know deep down that once he asks you out, and if it's that day that you have that thing that you really wanted to do, or those plans, soft plans with your friends, you're gonna bail and go see this guy and hang out with him, even though you already had plans with your friends or plans to do something that you really wanted to do, etc. If you're bailing, if you're only making soft plans because you know you want the guy to, come around and make plans with you, please use this as a sign to check in with yourself. And if you're really looking to decenter men, I think that this would be the biggest thing, is once you've made the plan, just stick with it. If that guy wants to see you, if you're really interested in a guy, he's got to be interested back. It can't just be like a one time, like, oh, this is the only time I'm going to see him, so I need to see him right now. That's the only time he's ever asked, so I have to drop everything and make my life revolve around him. No. If he wants to see you, you already have plans this day, but you're available this other day. And if he's like, no, that doesn't work for me, then fuck that guy. He wasn't serious to begin with, and you're wasting your time. Okay? Obviously, if he comes back with a different date, that's a different story. But if he's like, can't make the one time that's convenient for me, telling you directly right there that you revolve around him and the efforts to decenter men from our lives. And again, this is not, you have to drop men completely and focus on other things. But if you want to see him, that's fine. But just know that if he can't be flexible and like show up when it's convenient for the both of you, then that's not your guy to begin with. If he's only asking you to hang out when it's convenient for him, there's something else going on here. Okay, he's using you, it's convenient for him. He doesn't really like you. And I think that there's a bigger issue at play here that's going on within yourself. But if a guy's really into you, he's going to be like, yeah, no worries. You have plans. I get that. Let's hang out another time. But I think a lot of us, it's really hard to do because obviously you want to see him. Honestly, the healthy thing to do, and the way that he's going to respect you more, is if you say no. I think the more you say no, like, sorry, that doesn't work for me, he's going to be like, actually, okay, like no one says no to me. And then he's going to respect you so much more. So it's a win-win situation. You get to see your friends and he respects you more. Okay. Another point, based on your emotions, are your emotions revolving around if a guy's giving you attention, affection, love, caring, whatever, Or if he isn't doing all those things, he's ignoring you, neglecting you, not giving you his attention, do you feel like your emotions fluctuate based on that? Because if they do, there's a very good chance that you have him as the center of your universe. Everything revolves around him. It's literally like day and night as the solar system analogy. If he's giving you attention, then it's bright, it's a sunny day, you feel good, vibes are high, you feel like nothing is impossible. And then the second he goes ghost, disappears for a while, it's nighttime, you're anxious, you're scared, everything's dark, your emotions start to drop. You're like, oh my God, what happened? I thought we were good. Life is not good when it's without him. And you're just waiting for the daytime to come back and give you some sunshine. But if you think about it like that, does your mood fluctuate based on his actions of what he's doing or not doing? Because if they do, you're centering him in your life. And how do you stop that? There's so much that goes into this, but I think that's just like the basic checklist of asking yourself, like, does my mood fluctuate with this person? If it does, I got to do something about it. And I think that really just starts with like healing your own internal wounds, which by the way, I work on with you if you'd like. Again, stand link in the bio, I got you. Just another checklist item: is your mood dependent on what he does or does not do? Next one. Am I taking care of the things that I find important in my own life? And do I know what the things in my own life are that are important to me outside of the men that I date? I think for the longest time, I would, especially like even when I was starting this stuff, maybe wasn't as consistent with certain things when I was talking to a guy because all I wanted to do was drop everything and see him. I wasn't as consistent in what I needed to do to get to where I wanted to go. Once you find out what's important to you in your own life and you commit to those things, it should be really hard to bend yourself. Like, no, I have things that I need to do, that I need to do to pursue the goals that I want to get to where I want to go. And there's not going to be anyone that's going to step in and deter me from my own goals. So many times I hear people, oh yeah, like I really wanted to, go to this university, or I wanted to do this job in this certain place, but I know that it would be away from him. So I turned down those opportunities that could have been really great opportunities to be with this guy that may or may not be making the same sacrifices as you. Even more so recently, I had thought, this is not off the table, but I don't think that it's going to be the right fit. I was talking to this guy that I met in Portugal, but he has a year contract in Australia. And he's like, once I get settled in, like I would love for you to come with me. I really thought about it. No guy has really ever, I want this, I want you, let's make it happen. And so I really considered it for a while. Does this benefit my life? Could I really do this? Most of my clients are in America, so I would be working super weird hours in the middle of the night to work with my clients. It just realistically, I think that I would have more of a resentment towards him because I wouldn't be doing. It would be really hard for me and the sacrifices that I made. And are you making decisions for him, or are you making the decisions for your own life and what you find important of where you're trying to go? The right person is going to fit seamlessly. I don't know why I can't say that word. Seamlessly in your life. It's not going to be this, we have to force the pieces together. And I'm not saying that this would never happen, but I do think about this right now, even maybe for the next year or so. Maybe I could do a couple months there, but it's just, I would be making much more of a sacrifice to be with this person. What I would be getting back would need to be sufficient enough for me to justify me moving to a completely different country across the world. I'm like, I have to think about myself and my own decisions first, because I don't want to go somewhere and then end up resenting someone for, putting me in a situation that isn't beneficial for my own life. Anyway, are you taking care of the things that you find important? And if you don't know what's important in your life, that's something that you need to think about beforehand and first and foremost. And I think I kind of spoke about this before, but am I giving more than I'm receiving? And is what I'm putting, the sacrifices that I'm making, am I getting things back that are mutually beneficial? Am I okay with what I'm getting back? I think a lot of times we're like, give, but then we stop and think, what am I getting out of this? Am I getting anything out of this besides a guy to be with? A lot of times, and I think a lot of my clients too, it's like, first of all, do you even like him? Is what you're putting in worth the sacrifices that you're making? Is it worth the anxious chaos that you're being put in? Is it worth it to you? Because if it's not, we need to really be real with ourselves. Is this really gonna work? And why not put yourself out of that misery and make the hard decision to walk away from something that's not beneficial or working for you? This one I think is so good. Realize that I have done a lot, and sometimes I'll catch myself doing this and it's kind of gross, but I think a lot of us do this. Are you leaving the house in hopes to find a man? It never works like this, by the way. You are leaving your house. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going out at night and I'm hoping that I find a guy to talk with or some numbers, or I hope to leave my house and I'll go like sit in a cute little coffee shop and hope that someone will talk to me, or I'll go to a bar by myself or go to a restaurant by myself in hopes that I'll meet someone along my way, along my journey. It never happens when you're out searching for it, and it's annoying to hear, but like it never happens when you're expecting it. Really, when you're like so focused on, I am going out, I'm gonna put my best outfit on, I'm gonna do my hair, I'm gonna do my makeup, and I'm gonna look good and feel good about myself. And then when I go out, I'm searching for it. You're looking for the person to talk to. You want someone to approach you. Hopefully today's the day I'm gonna find someone. I look good, I feel good. But it never happens that way. It's always when your sweatsuit's on, your hair's a mess, you have no makeup on, running to the grocery store, someone finds you approachable and wants to talk to you, and you're like, not right now. Running to the gym, and then all of a sudden like someone wants to talk to you and you were not expecting it. It always happens when you're not expecting it. I think that the more you go out with the hopes to like, oh, now is the time, now is the day, I'm gonna meet someone, I'm gonna find someone, I think you're just setting yourself up for failure, because just let it happen. Go out with the intentions that, oh, you're gonna have a good time regardless. You're gonna go to that coffee shop and you're going to focus on what you need to focus on in that coffee shop. You're going to enjoy your own company. Set the intention of enjoying your time, enjoying your own space, enjoying your friends, enjoying whatever, but don't make the intention based on meeting a guy. Sometimes it's fun. I can't lie. When I was like a couple years ago and I would travel with my friends a lot, we would set nightly or daily intentions on our trips, mostly of like what we wanted to get out of it. And I think a lot of it did kind of revolve around men, but it's, oh, you're not trying to meet your husband when you're out just traveling with friends. It's like, oh, I want to just like make out with a guy tonight, and that's fine. If you're taking it so seriously that, oh, I'm meeting my husband today and that's the intention I want to put out there, I just feel like it's kind of an embarrassing, sad intention. And I love you. I'm saying this with love because I've been there. The more you're like, it has to happen, I'm waiting for it to happen, it never does. You're waiting around and you're like, when is this ever gonna happen? Just start enjoying what you have now, because the second that you aren't single anymore and your life is fully in a relationship, I promise you're going to look back on the times that you were single and you're going to be like, I wasted my singlehood on wanting a guy, and now I'm here. And it's like, a lot of times, I'm not saying every time, now I miss my single days. Like, I want to go back to my single days. Have fun where you're at. Enjoy your life where you are. There's so many facets of life. Enjoying your family, your friends, your hobbies, your interests, your goals, your career. There's so much more than just men. The only point that I'm trying to make in this video is to not make men the sole focus of your life. And I think the more you check in with yourself, like, is this what's happening? Is this what's going on? The more you can pivot into things that actually matter, and the more you feel like a full person on your own, the more you're gonna bring in the best of the best. Like, it's just gonna seamlessly fall onto your lap, I promise you. But start enjoying your life for what you have right now, and I promise you that the person that's meant for you, the person that's supposed to come in, which, by the way, is not the end all be all, but the person that's supposed to come into your life will make its way. But that is it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got some kind of value out of this. And if you did, please leave that thumbs up, leave that 5-star rating, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next week.